What is up and how's it going? Welcome back to the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. We have a special episode today with a new episode style we're going to go with. It's going to be called Organization Overhaul, where we're going to take a look at the New Orleans Saints, look at their problems, look at their flaws, and see if we can armchair quarterback this franchise to some success. And with that being said, welcome in my co-host, Joey. How you doing today, buddy?
Whew. Hope y'all had a great Christmas. I know I did. Extended Christmas because you got those last second parties that people do right after. Doing good. Ready for the new year. Especially ready for the new year. 2025 is going to be awesome. Hope everyone had a great 24. Shane, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. Hope you had a great Christmas. I'm looking forward to a quiet new year. Gonna just lay low. And then I'm looking forward to 2025. More podcasts, more coverage, and a healthier 2025 for yours truly. I'm going on a health journey. Yay.
Yay. You sound thrilled.
Yeah, I was about to say, we can feel the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But look, I'm glad to hear y'all had a great Christmas. I did as well. It was nice to see some family. You know, it's been as y'all know, it's been a little bit of a rough patch for me, but it was good to finally get with some family that I haven't seen in a while, and we're working through some stuff. But I'm happy to be here. We're going to talk some football, which is always a great thing. But before we jump into our new segment, which I'm really excited about, and we're going to keep doing so. We're going to keep doing this for other franchises as well, depending on the feedback we get. So definitely let us know in the comments what you want us to change, what you think we should add, take away. Always here for improvement. Always here to give you what you want to listen to. With that being said, let's recap the final games of the NFL 2024 this year, the year of our Lord 2024. Sorry about that. I got tongue-tied there for a second. But one of the main headlines was the Vikings just dominating the Packers. What did y'all think about that one? Shane, what you got on that one?
The Vikings are just – I don't think it's the Packers are bad. I think that the Vikings might be that good. I mean, their defense has been top-notch this year. I mean, their defense is so good they literally practice touchdown dances or great play dances. Like they have full choreography going on each game. It's impressive. The Vikings, I think, are ticking and tying on offense. They got Hawkinson back. Addison's been looking great week in and week out the last couple of weeks, which helps out Jefferson. I mean, Jefferson's still making crazy plays. They got Aaron Jones. That catch was incredible. And I just think that the Packers are kind of young and need to mold together a little bit. They got a lot of young receiver and tight end talent. They just look inconsistent, but I think the Vikings are the real deal. I'm looking forward to next week's game with the Lions.
Oh yeah, for sure. Joey, what did you think about the game, buddy?
I mean, it was a snooze fest for me from the beginning, and then that fourth quarter kind of made me turn my eye a little bit and go, "Hey, there may be something here." Look, people are sleeping on the Vikings. We talk about the Lions, we talk about the Bills, we talk about the Chiefs. The Vikings are a real deal. It's something that, when you look at their quarterback, Sam Darnold, every time people think of him, he's seeing ghosts. Well, he has exercised those demons for sure from the Jets and, found his new life in Minnesota. It's going to be a good playoff this year for them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely I agree with everything y'all are saying, especially, just how it's weird being 13-2 or 14-2 now and being quote unquote under the radar, but they kind of are. And I feel like that's kind of more of the fact that we've been talking about the Lions finally getting over the hump, talking about the Bills finally getting over the hump, the Chiefs' dominance. There's just not enough time to talk about them, right? And then there's Philadelphia, whether they're doing great or there's dysfunction or whatever, right? Like there's always another story that just seems bigger than the Vikings. But man, hats off to them. They've really looked good. The Packers really made a valiant effort to come back. The only reason I posed that question in the show doc, which for those who can't see it, it's basically just asking, are the Packers for real or do they just beat bad teams? It'd be interesting to see how they perform in the playoffs. But look, I think both of them can make some noise. The Packers definitely showed some flaws here. Jordan Love has to step his game to another level because, Josh Jacobs running the ball is going to be great, but when it comes playoff time, he's going to have to make some plays and not turn the ball over. And I think the lack of not having a true number one receiver, a guy that you can be like, okay, that's a guy we need to play from in the receiving core, does hurt them to a certain extent. But we'll see how it all plays out. I think the Vikings can do some real damage, like you said, Shane. I can't wait to see them play the Lions next week for how we'll see how home field advantage plays out, the NFC North title, everything. It's going to be a really interesting finish. Anything else you want to talk about on this game?
I mean, honestly, like I look at Minnesota, the more I think about it, it kind of brings me back to the good old days of the Saints when Drew Brees was around. And when we won that Super Bowl, you had the team that is known for losing, has sucked in the past, finally has a team that could possibly make the Super Bowl, and the Vikings are there trying to be the people who say, nope, you're not going there. You're not over our dead body. You're going to make it to the Super Bowl. So, and that was a pretty fun time as a Saints fan. I couldn't imagine it being a Lions fan now, but I'm excited for next Sunday's game. It's going to be probably, I would say it's the game of the year. It has the potential to be game of the year. So, and a also potential NFC championship game.
What's crazy to me is the loser of that game has to play the NFC South winner, which is just like wild. You're going to be 14-3 and playing in 9-8 team. I mean, Tampa's looked a little bit more consistent, but if the Falcons for some reason win the division, it's just disgusting.
Let me tell you what. If I'm the Lions with the injuries I have on defense, the injuries, to Montgomery and everything, I don't want to play the Bucs at all. I want nothing of them. That just seems like a recipe of the way Philadelphia was last year, right? Now, I would still pick the Lions to win that game, but it's definitely a game that I could see being an issue and being a trap game for them. And that's what's interesting about the NFL, right? So, but speaking of chaos and the playoff picture, man, the AFC, that last spot, oh my goodness, no team really wants to claim it, right? The New York Giants put up 40 plus points? What is happening? What was that? When did Drew Lock become an all-pro quarterback? 5 touchdowns he threw.
He saw Shador wearing Giants cleats going into the Alamo Bowl and said, yeah, no, I don't want him on my team. I need to make sure we don't get that number 1 pick because we will probably get him.
I see. We'll talk about the draft moving forward. I don't think he's the number 1 quarterback. I really don't.
I don't think so either. I think it's just a lot of hype.
Well, all right,
I think the Giants don't want the pressure because their GM is horrible of picking first overall. So,
that's interesting.
True Giants fashion, they win when they don't need to. My brother was texting me this morning, was furious because that's his team. And because I've always told him, I was like, the Saints do this to me every year. The Saints, realistically, Rizzi comes in. I'm sure we'll talk about this more, but won those 2 games. Those 2 games are keeping them out of the top 5. It didn't help us out any. Probably didn't help him out any.
No, it did not. And then, we'll talk about more, but there's a good possibility we're locked into that 10th spot because we won one too many games. But anyway, we digress. But get back to this. What I mean is, the Giants beating the Indianapolis Colts yesterday night, pretty much a shocker, and ruining about 3 of my parlays, by the way. It actually keeps kick the door open for the Dolphins of all teams to control their own destiny. They don't control their own destiny. I'm sorry, but have the inside track if the Broncos lose to make the playoffs over the Bengals, which is absolutely wild to me. They eliminated the Colts as well. I mean, I didn't see it coming. All I have to say is Malik Neighbors finally kind of showed out what he could do. And yeah, I'm a loss for words. Joey, what'd you think about this game?
Whew. It was I couldn't watch it. I was just getting too nervous. Shane, what did you think of that game? I want to hear your thoughts more.
It's a tip. I mean, as someone I've watched the Giants through my brother, my older brother.
Yeah.
And I just think it is a complete exclamation point in how this year is gone. If you watched Hard Knocks, the owner said we're going to be sick if we see the Barkley in a Eagles jersey. That dude told him not to worry about it. Barkley's on the cusp of breaking Eric Dickinson's record. The guy's asking his kids who to draft. His kids had a better grasp on the draft than he did. And it just has been a nightmare all season. So now I feel like it's Daboll is like coaching up to try to save his job for one more year while he also screws himself. It just, to me, is just the whole thing is like crazy to me because you would control your own destiny, even if you don't want to draft one of those guys because you need a lot of trade back, accumulate picks. You've really pulled yourself out of a lucrative position, and they've really just dropped the ball all year from organization top to bottom.
I mean, they go ahead.
Yeah, I just have to throw in a funny, Joey, and I'm very sorry. I did not. I will
No,
let
you're
you
fine.
go right after this. Saquon Barkley, for those who are uninformed and do not know, needs 101 rushing yards to break Eric Dickerson's record. Do you want to take one guess on who they play on Sunday in the final game of the season where he could break this record?
New York, baby.
They play the Giants. The Giants are going to Philadelphia. I don't care if they win the game, they lose the game, or they put up a great moral fight. If he breaks that record, the GM needs to be gone. There is no way he's going to break the. Look, you heard it here first. I'm laying all my money on. Well, not all my money. I'm going to lay a hefty bet on Saquon Barkley over carries and over yardage because they are going to feed him the ball on Sunday. There's no way they don't.
I don't know if you saw the Fox graphic before the game, but they were talking about how the Giants, if they would have lost today, they would have gone winless at home this season. Did you see they had a stat since the last time the Giants have won? The Argentinian national soccer team has won there. The Uruguayan national soccer team has won there. The New Jersey Devils have won there. Notre Dame has won a game there. FC Barcelona has won a game there, and then like one other team they had listed. It was
so no one teams, really good. No good.
All
sports.
those teams. All those teams have won in MetLife before the Giants since the Giants had last won in their home stadium.
Well, Shane, I think that perfectly points out how bad the Giants have been, right? Like, leave anything.
I understand. They already came out and said Barkley said he's not worried about the record. Now, I still think they go for it, but I think the greatest thing the Eagles could do is let that dude get the record in like the first half, pull everyone in the second half, and let the Giants win the game.
That would be hilarious.
And then let them go down the draft board farther. There's a huge difference in ranking between the top two quarterbacks in the draft. The next one isn't going until like the second round. I think it's like Jalen Monroe. They have him projected in the top second. In a couple mocks I've looked at. I haven't like dived into it, but
no, I'm just saying he's an interesting prospect. I've seen him go top 5 to Cleveland as a developmental prospect since they essentially stuck with Watson. But yeah, he is definitely a second, third round prospect. There is a huge drop off between the first two quarterbacks and then the third one.
So I say let him rush for 105 yards or 100 whatever, and then pull everyone. I'd let the water boy go on and play quarterback, and I'd let the Giants win and hurt the organization more than you've already hurt them.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Unfortunately, the players and the front office in Philly they have a little bit more of an internal issue than that. I think they just need to get that record and hope that they can make a run into playoffs to help save head coaching jobs. They're going to be not worried about.
Banged up too, though. I mean, you got.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd be more worried about injuries than anything.
Jalen Hurts is banged up. Kenny Pickett looked like he folded like origami during the game. I mean, the kid that came in the third round looked great, you know. But I mean, there's not a lot of. I did see this. I did notice who. Do you know who the fourth quarterback is on the Eagles?
I'm looking at it right now. Oh yeah, I see it.
It's Ian Book.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Ian Book, God, that dude started.
Book it, book it, baby.
Good Lord.
Anyway,
Like if we could just go down the quarterback misses we've had, it's actually the Saints have had it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
No, he was a miss. No. Him.
He wasn't even supposed to start.
Yeah.
COVID ravaged the team on top of injuries, and he was just, all right, you're the healthiest one.
He wasn't even projected to be drafted, and we drafted him. Why?
Yeah.
That's a story. That's a story for a couple more minutes.
That Notre Dame.
I'm getting too wound up right now already.
We're focused on things that we can focus on next time. I do have a stat about that rookie that debuted. Tanner McKee is the first player in the NFL draft era, which is 1936, to have multiple touchdown passes in his NFL debut with 5 or less passing attempts. He went 3 for 4
for 2 touchdowns, right?
Yes,
3 for 4 with 2 touchdowns.
3 for 4 with 2 touchdowns.
And someone that's not salty at all as a fantasy football owner, those touchdowns Devonta Smith would have helped out immensely earlier in the season. Just saying.
Trust me, I hate Tyler. Baker went for 5 touchdowns yesterday. If you go look in the Yahoo League, I would have easily won this championship this week, and I fell short last week. Just it's rough.
Shane, until you get DeMar Hamlin, I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like
that man's heart stopping literally took a championship from me.
Took half a championship from you. It took half a championship from you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jono tried to start with me with that like a few days ago. I'm like, I'm not getting into this with you again. T. Higgins and Joe Mixon would have scored 10 points, damn it.
I mean, all I know is if Jamison Williams scores 100 points tonight, you might never see me again on this podcast in real life.
I wouldn't blame you either if he drops.
I feel pretty good about claiming my dynasty championship in our Degenerates League.
So I'm hoping my team takes the same trajectory yours did. I was ravaged by injuries this year, like you were last year. You trade away your first round pick last year. That turned out to be the 3rd overall pick. I trade away mine. That turned out to be the 3rd overall pick. There's the similarities are there, bud. So I'm just hoping that
I was close in our other dynasty league too, Joey, and I made the wrong flex play, and it cost me. I would have beat them this week. So I'm working on something juicy though. I can't tell Tyler because Tyler likes to try to get in on my action, but I'm working on something juicy in the dynasty league.
Whoa, boy.
Whoa. Wait, hold on. You cannot put this on the podcast of all places, okay?
Oh, why not?
I have not. When have I ever sniped you for a trade?
I wouldn't say a trade. You did trade over me in the Yahoo League this year.
Well, yeah. I
mean, Malik?
Yeah. Okay. That's just
after pumping people for information the week leading up to the draft.
Well, hey. I mean,
we also
I had to figure out where I had to go, dude. You knew I was trading up for him.
We also can't divulge information in case a certain someone who likes to listen to podcasts, and then we'll send you thousands of trades that make no sense.
Shout out to my boy Jono.
Look, I'll give him credit. Some of them are reaching, but some of them make sense. But
it's just when he listens to certain podcasts based on the trades.
He stopped that now because we have definitely made fun of him because of that. He sent me one. I can't remember what it was. A Dynasty podcast. And he sent me a trade offer. I'm like, dude, I'm listening to the episode right now. And he just said, he goes, LOL. I was like, I mean, I appreciate it, but
I'm listening to the episode right now.
I'm listening to the episode right now. So he's kind of stopped out with that. But I mean, hey, look, we give him shit, but he flipped that crap hole of a roster that was Brad's roster in Dynasty into a second place team. Because that
while scoring the 10th most points in the league out of 10. So once again, while he did flip the roster, he got extremely lucky all year.
I can't say anything. I scored 7th last year.
and won. It's just as lucky. I scored the 2nd most points in that league and barely got into playoffs at 6-8, which just shows that schedule and luck has more to do with it sometimes.
It does. It does. So, with that being said, since we're talking Facebook right now, we're going to divulge our own personal rosters to y'all in later episodes. Y'all can tear them to pieces. You can, please be nice. But if you don't have, but if you can't, we understand. But we're gonna break down our rosters. We're gonna give each other advice on where we would go, what players we should probably try to target or release, and basically kind of like our. We're coming up with a name of it. We have some few ideas floating around, but be on the lookout for that one right now. And yes, that was a shameless plug for future episodes. Guys, I know we said we were going to talk about other NFL stuff. I'm ready to jump into the overhaul. I don't know about y'all. How y'all feeling? Y'all ready for it?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's put some dirt on this season that we call the 2024-2025 NFL Saints season.
With that being said, welcome to the first edition of the Organization Overhaul. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the New Orleans Saints, our hometown team, and we're going to dissect the season that was, look at possible coaching candidates since we did fire our head coach, and just the path that we believe and kind of armchair it back here they should go to improve the franchise in the immediate future and for the long-term health of the organization, hence the name Organization Overhaul. There are going to be some changes. With that being said, gentlemen, you're all ready.
Let's do it.
All right. So, season review, guys. We've watched it. Go over it pretty quickly. Saints started off 2-0. Phenomenal victories over, lesser opponents in the Cowboys and the Panthers. But overall impressive. Had the city really vibing, national media even giving us credit. Then week 3 came along. We played the Eagles. Lost Eric McCoy. We lost a very close game to him. But there were some troubling signs. We were giving up a ton of yardage on that game. We didn't control the ball that well. And that kind of led to a spiral of 7 straight losses with all culminating in a 23-22 loss to the Carolina Panthers, who are a dumpster fire in their own right at that time, which led to DA being fired in a much-needed move. Rizzy takes over. He wins a few games. Then there starts showing some warts on the team, that being the Green Bay game and yesterday's game, a time of the recording, of the Las Vegas Raiders beating the New Orleans Saints 25-10. And to y'all, I don't know about y'all, but that this feels like rock bottom, right? No, but yeah.
I mean, it's not the Billy Joe Holbert and Billy Joe Tolliver years, but I mean, the team beating the Cowboys seemed impressive in week 2 when the Cowboys were healthy. They were pretty dominant team the year before. You're like, okay, we're looking good. It just fell apart after that. I think a lot of injuries, a lot of just inconsistencies in the organization, from GM to coaching philosophy. I think we've kept too many people around. We've kind of trickled people out. Last year we got rid of Carmichael, where we've kept people around even though Sean Payton left. We've only replaced them by need instead of saying, hey, maybe we need to revamp some things. So it's definitely, this is like the worst I can remember the organization being in the last easily 25 years, if not 30.
That's fair. Joey.
I mean, the season starts out, you go into the Panthers game and you're like, maybe we at least kind of fight for a playoff spot. You don't have your hopes up all that much. You're still kind of hoping that DA will at least figure it out or turn it around from last year. It looked like that was happening, and then he had to go and quote Kendrick Lamar. And since that point, they went 0-for-7 in games that he was the head coach. And the sad part is, yes, some of them are blowouts. The Buccaneers 51-27, the Broncos 33-10, Chargers 26-8. But then you throw in some close ones. Eagles 15-12, Falcons 26-24, Panthers again 23-22. Some of those games, yes, the Commanders 20-19. There's a lot of games where they were just one play away, one stop, one pass, something that would have, we'd be possibly fighting for a playoff spot as opposed to looking at, okay, how are we going to implode this team and improve?
Can I jump in real quick on that one?
Mm-hmm.
When you give those examples of those games, I think we need to take the Washington game out of that one because that's in a
Mhm.
different, like, to me, you got to look this season in two different eras. You have the DA era and you have the Rizzy little mini era that we're in right now. The three games you mentioned, the non-Washington, the Atlanta, the Carolina, and the Eagles, those were all games where DA was the head coach, where we found ways to lose the game. Like the Eagles game. The defense held the Eagles down. I mean, granted, at the end of the game, they gave it the long run to Saquon. I mean, who hasn't this year, though, and broke down, but the offense couldn't do anything.
Well, the other thing with the Eagles game was they also
Mhm.
couldn't stop Dallas Goedert.
Well, no, very true. Yeah, that's very, very true on that one as well. But they held him down though. Like 15 points in the NFL, that's holding an offense down. The Falcons game, you felt it coming. You knew the Falcons were going to go down, kick field goal, win that game. And then the Carolina one was just a nail in the coffin. But the Rizzy one was more, hey, let's go win the game. But I get what you're saying. I just want the audience to kind of look at it in different, how they should be viewed. Like,
well, I mean, it's
Mhm.
those games were within reach to, if something changed, if something, like, you had that one hot moment where, you know, maybe we have the momentum, or a penalty swung, or, maybe threw an interception instead of, getting a touchdown pass, or, it was one moment away from switching those things around. And I mean, we'd be 8-8 with Atlanta. We'd be fighting for that final spot in the playoffs if those three games, and even, like, I'll throw the Commanders game in there solely because, we win for 2 at the end to try to go for the win. And, I still hear people say, like, we shouldn't have gone for 2. Nah, like, I'm okay with them going for the win, trying to close it out. Because if you go to overtime, that's more opportunity for players to get hurt. And I was perfectly okay with the go for 2. One possession games can change your season. So, and I mean, even the Rams game, 21-14,
yeah, it's
one possession game.
Well coached teams don't have to worry about what you just said, and well run organizations don't have to worry about what you just said.
Right.
There's fluke games sometimes in good organizations. They have an off game. Not every game that we had 2 games out of 17 played where we look good, and we have looked inconsistent. We've been outcoached, and we've just been outdone completely as an organization.
Well, with that being said about the outcoach part, this is where we kind of start delving into the organization itself. So before the offseason, we were basically told as a fan base how impatient we were and how we were not right, and how we don't know what we're talking about and we can't trust our eyeballs. Because everybody and their mama could see that Dennis Allen was not the man for the job. I'm trying to be very, very selective with my wording. I don't want to disparage anybody, but he was not the man for the job. He was not the leader of men that we needed for this locker room. When you have players openly disrespecting them to end the season, and you have a coach come up there pretty spineless, being like, "Oh, well, I want to apologize to the Falcons and blah 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 blah." No. He lost the locker room there, and we've gone over this at nauseum. So I won't get into the whole humdrum of it. But getting back to the organization, it was a mistake to keep Dennis Allen. At that point, you knew the locker room was not there anymore. So the way you fixed it was getting rid of the offensive coaching staff to try to better fit Derek Carr, who is Dennis Allen's pick, who are now financially committed to a good chunk of money. There's been consistent swings and misses in ideology that has set us back probably a few years. And this is the the bill coming toll for kicking the can down the road. And with that being said, I think it's time for a change of leadership in the organization. Not the owner. I think day-to-day operations need to be taken away from Mickey Loomis. The roster has no depth anymore. The cap has absolutely hamstrung us from any ability to get depth at all. And then when that happens, you have to nail the draft. And I'm sorry, Peyton Turner, Marcus Davenport, who you gave up multiple draft picks to go get because they fit a prototype or the kind of, I don't know, stature and physical attributes you missed. And that set this organization back over and over and over again. Go ahead, Shane.
I think there's a good, when you coach, I'm a big baseball guy, and you win games with singles. You don't win them with home runs, right? So that can be very well equated to the draft. They were trying to go for grand slam picks with these guys who had this raw talent, and you don't have anyone to develop it, right? Like when you look at us as an organization, we had Ryan Ramczyk, and they missed this crazy knee injury that has basically taken him out for his career, and they missed it completely. And now we're on the hook for his money. We gave him the biggest deal as a right tackle. I think he's only played 1 year under it. They missed that he was having problems with this knee. So I mean, it's just is they don't look at it that way. Instead of taking building block pieces that, hey, he might not be the home run hitter, but if he's going to start on offense or defense for 10 years and be a consistent contributor, that's what we need. Like you said, we don't have depth. We need to build a roster, and we're not building a roster by giving up multiple picks to sign guys who may or may not work. So, I think they 100%. I don't think they get rid of Loomis in the organization, but he needs to be. They need a GM and a coach to completely overhaul the team, and he can't be involved in the day to day.
Joey?
I mean, that's when you look at some of the pros of the job, because that's the thing. You got to think of what's the pro to coming here. The fact that
position, let's look at coaching candidates.
The fact that right now Mickey Loomis is one of the longest tenured GMs in the NFL, that kind of shows that, okay, they're likely to be patient with you if results hold. They were patient with Sean Payton because he eventually won us a Super Bowl. They gave him the benefit of the doubt on that. Look at what happened after they had that press conference when he was like, hey, I'm staying, I'm not going anywhere, like that whole thing. We turned the team around. It took, I think, another year, but then we figured it out, and then we were competing for championships again. Mickey Loomis is trying to find that kickstart. But like you said, Shane, I don't think he's the guy for the job now. I think the sport has moved past Mickey Loomis, and it's time for someone else to take charge and start worrying about, what is good for this franchise, what is good for this team. Because if we continue down this road, I don't know if they still do blackouts for games, but there's a possibility that could happen again.
Well, so there's two big things that were really missed with our next chapter after Drew Brees. We never found a successor. We did not have the foresight to figure out, okay, we need to have somebody as a backup or as a young player that can develop into the starting quarterback after Brees is gone. And then B, I know there was talk about getting rid of Sean Payton a few times when he was going 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, and 7-9 and all that stuff. But then they had a historical draft class. I just don't know if they can do that again. Like 2017 Saints draft classes just don't fall off trees. You know what I mean? Like you don't get a all-pro defensive rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, all-pro right tackle for a few years. I mean, it just doesn't happen like that. Like every pick from that draft class has contributed in some shape or form to the NFL. Right now, like Shane said, we just need to we just need to hit singles. We need to build the foundation of the team, and then, like, imagine building a house, right? We need to build the foundations and then worry about all the fancy, like, awnings and, like, I don't know, just pick what you want. A pool in the backyard, you got to build a foundation first. And I don't know if he's the man of the job to do that. So we'll figure it out. I know we will. There's a few guys that I've heard names floating around. There's a guy in the Chiefs organization that used to be a fullback, actually in the NFL, that I've heard of. There's some few guys in the Bills organization that have had interesting ties. So it'll be interesting to see how they go for the GM search. With that being said,
If they
let's
do
go
it.
with if they do it. That's very true. So with that being said, we do know that they're going to do a coaching search, right? So let me lay down a few names for y'all. If any of y'all if any of them stick out, I'll kick it to y'all and we can talk about them then. But here's a list that I kind of compiled. You got Mike Vrabel, the former Tennessee head coach, Ben Johnson, the Lions OC, Aaron Glenn, who has ties here at the Lions DC, Joe Brady, the Bills offensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, who is currently the Chargers defensive coordinator, Liam Cohen, who I think could quietly be a dark horse for this job as the Bucs OC, and then you have Pete Carroll, who is the former Seahawks and USC head coach. Joey, anybody stick out to you on that one?
I mean, Mike Vrabel is probably going to be the number one guy they talk to. I know his contract with the Browns as a
like assistant, an analyst or something.
Yeah, like consultant. That today was his last day for that, so he's going to be available for talks with teams looking for a head coach. Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson just got to wait until the Lions are eliminated or if they win the Super Bowl. I mean, this search isn't going to get done until at least February.
I don't know.
Unless they talk to Vrabel and it's like, hey, you're our guy, and they just say, we don't see anybody else. You have to wait till the season's done for these teams. And I know one thing: I do not want Pete Carroll here. He's already said that he's shown interest in the Bears job, so I think he'd be a better fit there than here.
No, that's fair. Shane, what about you, buddy?
Love Vrabel. He's a character building, culture building type of guy. He's not going to let any player intimidate him. I mean, he's brash. I like that. In my opinion, if you're going to rebuild a team, and it's not to knock, I love defensive coordinators. My next pick would be Liam Cohen. I like the Bucs offensive coordinator. I think we need to get more inventive. If you look at that offense is moving the ball up and down the field. They're utilizing multiple running backs, multiple tight ends. They're just doing a lot of different things. I like Ben Johnson. I think he turned people down last year. I think he might have a little bit of a head case on him based on what he wants from an organization, the money, and then all the things that he's put out there as never being a head coach seem pretty ballsy to me, but he has that offense looking real well and moving the ball as well. But my 1-2 would be Vrabel Cohen. I think you can go find a strong defensive coordinator. I would throw another name in that like I'd even be interested if they went with one of the defensive coordinators trying to coach Kingsbury over here. But I think he might go to the Bears. So I would say those two guys.
Yeah, look, I agree with y'all. I think Vrabel has to be the number one choice. I think he's going to have some better options, but I do want to point out, Joey, like you said earlier, one thing we can kind of convey to a coach is like, look, you're going to have job security. We know this isn't a quick fix, and that's one thing we're not. At least this regime is not quick to fire people, coaching wise. We've seen that when it's been blatantly obvious. So I think that's going to be appealing. I would love to see Vrabel here. Minter, I want to shout out to him. He's done a great job with the defense with the Chargers. But yeah, Liam Cohen, I do like Aaron Glenn as well, just connections here and everything. And he's really done a great job with that defense. And apparently he was really close last time to getting the job. But Cohen, the Bucs offense is better. And, I just look at Dave Canales. Now, this is strictly just looking off the year-to-year production, right? Like, it's gotten better since the other guy left. So this guy's got to be good too. It would be a first-time head coaching hire, so there would be some question marks there. One guy that we've talked about a lot on here that we'd like to see, but that I don't want to bring up that I didn't put on this list, and that's Brian Flores. And the reason I didn't bring him up is there's one thing that concerns me about him, and man, It's concerning that Tua still talks about how big of a jerk he was to him this far, like this long afterwards. You know what I mean? And after Tua's had success and everything. Like, if he's that bad, do we really want that kind of dude being the head coach? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you can't go in with that kind of baggage.
I mean, it's a fair question to ask, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean I think Brian Flores would probably be, if they interview him, it's just, I would almost call it just to kind of satisfy the Rooney Rule.
okay,
And the lawsuit with the NFL might be kind of like, hey, we've already had our trouble with the NFL. We want to get out of that crosshairs for a little bit. Another one, like somebody else you have on that list, Joe Brady, I don't see him necessarily. He might get offers now, but I don't see him necessarily taking them. I think the way he would become a head coach would probably be, maybe in a couple years. He's got that success now with Josh Allen and the Bills that, that's too good to pass up right now. You're doing well enough that you're consistently a Super Bowl favorite. Unless he wins a Super Bowl this year and then decides, hey, I'm going to go somewhere else, I don't see him leaving Buffalo.
okay. I mean, and that's fair. Look, and it's just a name I heard floated around. I think a lot of people do that, associate that.
I mean,
'cause he
I've
worked
heard
with
it.
the Saints and the LSU connection. But Shane, I do want to say about the Ben Johnson thing. I have heard rumors that he can be kind of like, I guess, quirky is the best way to put it. If that makes sense.
That's
Like
a nice way to put it, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a peculiar kind of guy. So he may be
I
just an offensive genius kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like,
I would
who knows?
love, and this is how I couldn't tell you what the name of these gentlemen are, but I feel that people have been very successful taking whoever is coaching offense with the 49ers or the Rams, especially the Rams. So I think that a lot of, if you follow the league, you took like a Mike McDonald and gave him the spot in the Dolphins when not a lot of people knew who he was. I'm not opposed to pulling a good coordinator from a good offense and giving him a shot with a more veteran defensive coordinator, right? Like if you took a Liam Cohen, maybe can you get a Ron Riviera who's been a head coach and he can run our defense, who's still respected and can handle building a solid defense. There's nothing wrong with taking that avenue as the Saints. They have a long way to go. You can build around a young coach and build the pieces he needs. That we're going to get into it later, but we have a couple picks in the first 4 rounds this year to try to build up a roster pretty quickly.
And for those wondering, the offensive coordinator for the Rams is Mike LaFleur, Matt's brother.
Wouldn't hate that.
No, I mean it's interesting. It's an interesting choice. So
yeah,
is there anybody else you want to talk about? I feel like we kind of ran down a good portion of the candidates that are there right now, at least are the ones that are being reported.
I was just kind of looking around, and I looked at USA Today Saints Wire, and they have possible Saints head coaches. And the surprising one that I would put on the list they have is Mike McCarthy, the Dallas head coach.
God, no.
I don't want it. I just think it's weird that they're putting him on the list, considering he hasn't been fired yet in Dallas.
I mean,
I'm sure it's imminent, but
I mean,
also, you could say Kellen Moore if you want to. Like you could start. I would take Kellen Moore over Mike McCarthy. I wouldn't want either of them.
See, but that's an interesting name though, Kellen Moore, right? I feel like some of that luster's kind of gone off of him, right? Because when he was in Dallas and they had that like 2-year stretch where they were great, with him as offensive coordinator, kind of really. I mean, if he was going to take a head coaching job, it should have been then, right?
Yeah.
And then he kind of struggled there. Then he went to the Chargers, kind of wasn't truly meshing there last year. And then now he's with the Eagles. And yeah, he looks better, but I just feel like he missed a shot. Interesting name, though, but I feel like he missed a shot.
I think they had him as the heir apparent.
I mean, Dallas. I think we missed a glaring need.
What's that?
What about Coach O?
God, no, get out of here. We might as well get the coach from the Water Boy.
Sorry.
Okay, before we do that.
You don't want to hear the greatest sound in football
Are you talking about the Fonz?
before every
No,
time?
no, not Henry Winkler, the other guy. The one that with the overalls.
Oh, Farmer Fran?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. All right. So with that, with
Home-
Farmer Fran
home-
reference,
Home
being there,
away, mate.
I saw somebody said, I just want to be in a room with him and Xavier Legette having a conversation.
Oh, my God.
Oof.
That'd be insane.
You ever wanted
Anyway.
to feel like you have CTE, but you've never had a concussion? Be in that room.
So let's move right along, and kind of look at the roster a little bit. I had a few needs I kind of laid out here on the show doc. With defense, I definitely think some secondary help. You know, Matthews getting older. We need to kind of replace those safeties now. Corner's now going to be a big question mark. Kool-Aid's had his moments, also struggled in coverage. Alontae Taylor, too inconsistent, and Paulson Debo, after that injury, you just don't know how he's going to play.
Would you
coming back.
put the Kool-Aid struggles just to the fact that he's a rookie and he hasn't developed?
Yeah. I'm not writing him off yet. I'm just stating facts.
Yeah. Just
That's
kind of, hey, this was a problem this year. Work on it.
Yeah.
So basically, our needs are everything.
Hey,
To be fair,
linebacker is not on there.
it should be.
I think you get another year out of Davis, and you can stretch that out.
I think it's more a
I don't think it's
Outside
not.
linebacker.
it's not an immediate need.
It's not. Look,
It's a
we got bigger
hey,
fish to
down
fry.
the road.
Okay.
Yeah, let's worry about these problems first before, because yes, we will need linebackers eventually.
Hey, and offensive tackle. Okay. You know,
Do you want
Penning.
to just put center on there so we can just say offensive line in general?
No. So
No, I just
let-
think
let
we
me
need
go-
everything.
We could need everything. Okay, so let's kind of go through it. Offensive guard, 100%. Especially with like left guard's been an absolute disaster this season. Luke, like when they started praising Luke, they're like, okay, guys, it's all fixed. Lucas Patrick is back. I'm like,
Who?
serious here? I've never heard of this guy before the season. How are we praising that this is going to be the answer at left guard? It's not. That has to be addressed. Cesar Ruiz, it is what it is at this point. I think we're just paying him too much money. But
Bust.
yes, 100%. I will completely agree. Absolute bust in that front. Wide receiver. Can you tell me if Chris Olave is going to play again? Because I don't know. Like, he may just be Ray Finkel in the freaking home at in Ace Ventura at this point. Poor guy. Like
Shady Oaks. At
Shady
Shady
Oaks,
Oaks
yeah.
Mental Facility.
I mean, seriously. I mean, do you think we re-sign Shaheed?
Yeah, but I don't think he's that number one. Like, I don't think we have a true number one wide receiver.
Oh man, that hurts me.
That's
It's going to hurt me to say this.
That's healthy. That's healthy. That's
no,
healthy.
it's going to hurt me to say this, Joey. I love Chris Olave. I don't think he's a one right now.
No, I don't think so either. But I mean, even if he's healthy, he's not the. And I'm going to say these names. So like, just think of when they were good here: Michael Thomas, Marcus Colston.
He's not the one.
Yeah, he's not.
I
He's not the
can't
number
believe
one.
you didn't say Colston first. You said Michael Thomas first.
I went
Makes me
from
grow up.
recency bias in my list. Recency bias.
Gross.
And the next position I'll throw out
because you can't get a number one like that again for a long time. That's
But
going to
what,
be
a
a 7th round pick at wide receiver.
Oh man, most underrated
so
wide
nice.
receiver.
I know
Anyway,
you talk about the 2017 draft. The 2006 draft to me is the best draft we had.
Ooh, that'd be a fun look back, honestly, because
Roman
You look at-
Harper, Stinchcomb.
I'm well aware.
Wait, wasn't
Sorry,
Roman Harper
Evans.
before then?
No,
Roman
Roman
Harper
Harper
was
was in the
06.
second round. He's number 40th overall in that draft.
Yeah, Bush,
Man, where
Harper,
have I been?
Colston.
I think you were in high school in
Stinchcomb.
06.
I was a freshman in high school. Yes, I was.
Jahari Evans was in the 4th round in that draft.
Oh,
A
I
guy
know.
they drafted that we didn't keep, I think, was in that draft was Rob Minkovich, who we should have kept.
Yep, great for the Patriots.
I think
Yeah, no.
everyone in that draft was like a home run hit.
All right, you ready? Here's the draft.
Yep.
So you had Reggie Bush, Roman Harper, Jari Evans,
Yep.
Rob Ninkovich,
Yep.
Mike Hass, wide receiver from Oregon State.
That's a miss.
That's the one that didn't hit.
That was
That's a miss.
round six, pick 171. Then you had defensive back for Pittsburgh, Josh Lay, round 6, pick 174. Then you had round 7, pick 210, Zach Streif. And then round 7, pick 252, Marcus Colston.
All right, just so just for comparison's sakes, okay?
You're pulling up the 2017 draft?
I'm pulling up 2017.
I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you already. You had so 2017, I know we had Ramczyk at the back end of the draft, back end of the class at 31. Then you had Marcus Lattimore at 11.
Marshawn Lattimore. Marcus Lattimore is a running back from South Carolina.
Marshawn Lattimore.
I talked about
at
him
11.
today at work, by the way. Okay.
Weird.
Pick
Marshawn
11 in the
Lattimore
first
would've
round. Marshawn Lattimore.
13.
11.
11?
11th.
Oh,
He would the pick after Mahomes.
Yes.
that's right.
Then you had Ryan Ramczyk.
Yep, 31. Then you had
Marcus Williams,
40.
pick 42.
Oh, thought I had it.
Running back Alvin Kamara,
Traded
pick
up for it in the second round.
pick number, since we're playing that game, why not? Let's go.
62? 61?
67.
67? Okay.
Alex Anzalone,
He was, I don't know.
Who
At
did
this point, just go
76?
ahead.
Nothing until he went to Detroit.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just more along the lines of like what they did, like just in general, how good the class is,
Trey Hendrickson.
which we should have definitely signed. He is the sack leader right now.
Yes. And then the last pick of the Saints draft that year was Al-Qadim Muhammad.
Which he had a few good like game. I want to say he had like good season with the Jets. Like, he was a starter for a little bit,
He was with Miami.
or
He
Miami.
He was drafted from Miami.
He wasn't with us, but he definitely had some starts. But like that class was, both classes were awesome. We'll go that way.
I would lean towards the 06 being better than 17. I mean, they did all win a Super Bowl, but
I was going to say,
I would say that it's tough, but I would lean towards 06.
Yeah, I mean, there's no wrong answer here. Like let's just get that off.
More for longevity of play from that class. I think that the 17 class is not going to play as long.
For the Saints, yes.
Yeah.
For the Saints as an organization, yes, 100% agree with you. But let's stick with this iteration of the Saints, and let's look at tight end. That was another need that I put up on there. I think we desperately need a tight end. Juwan Johnson's interesting. Foster Moreau is solid. Nobody write home about. Think kind of on agreement here.
I think that's just a problem at the tight end position, is that you have your top tier tight ends, and then you have a massive drop off to like the 6th ranked or 7th ranked tight end in the league.
Oh yeah, I'm just putting it as a need though.
No, yeah,
There's a couple sneaky guys in the draft. There's a couple sneaky guys in the draft this year that between the 2nd and 4th round that we could take a shot on that I wouldn't be upset about.
There's one I'm thinking of that if he kind of tests the way I think he's going to, look for him at number 10.
Number 10.
Depending on how he tests, yeah.
Okay.
Just saying. All right, and the last two I kind of have here, they're not immediate needs, I would say. Something that needs to be addressed. Running back depth behind Alvin Kamara, we have none. I'm sorry, I can't trust Kendre Miller. That dude has more trips to the medical tent than he does touchdowns this season. So, great talent. There's definitely something there. Also, he needs to learn the playbook, because apparently there was 2 times where he lined up in the wrong spot.
What do you think of how Clyde Edwards-Helaire did yesterday?
I mean, it's a fun story. It's a fun story.
Do you think they bring him on for like another year just to kind of be like almost like a prove it contract? Like, hey, let's see if you can really do this, just to add the depth.
I could see it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't see why not. But he's not going to be an answer at running back. Like, he'll be an ancillary piece, but he's not going to be a huge like swing of the pendulum for me, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed seeing him out there in a Saints uniform.
Oh yeah, I get that. 100%.
I don't think if Patrick Mahomes if Patrick Mahomes didn't ask for him, he's not a first round pick.
Oh God, no.
Like, yeah, I love the kid, love what he did at LSU, but
I think
he's
he would
just
have
like
been
a
he would have been
gimmicky
a
type
solid
player.
he would have been a solid third, just when he was drafted, like at the time of drafting, not knowing what we know now.
He wasn't big enough.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call it what it is, man. I mean, he got lifted up by Joe Burrow and them, and they saw a pass catching running back that, yeah, like Shane said, Patrick Mahomes wanted. They drafted him. We can all agree that Jonathan Taylor should have been the first running back taken in that draft. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you this question, guys.
Yes.
If we stay at 10, I know we're going to get into this. Is there any scenario, which they've got this guy going 13, that you take the kid from Boise State, Genty, and just say, hey, we're going to take a running back?
Okay. Damn it, Shane. Okay.
I wouldn't be mad because you're planning for the time when Kamara is done. I would be kind of disappointed because there are other things we need before a running back.
Okay. Tyler?
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Two schools of thought. Okay. I love going best player available, and we'll just figure it the hell out. You know what I mean? Look at the Raiders last year when they took Brock Bowers. They're like, yeah, we need a quarterback. We're not really sure who's going to throw him the ball, and we just took a tight end high in the draft last year. But this dude's just good, and we're going to figure out how to give him the ball, and look what he's doing now. So in that aspect, I think Genty would be a home run pick. I mean, shoot, you can line Kamara out a wide receiver and just figure it out from there. But don't get me wrong, it's a luxury pick. 100% a luxury pick.
So we'll just go like Liam Cohen becomes our offensive coordinator. He had Reggie White, Rashad White, and Irving this year.
That is a heck of a running back right there.
Yeah. So Kamara, who has had some of his best years when he had a solid running mate like Mark Ingram, like, to me, if you're going to try to help out a quarterback, you don't have an answer at quarterback. You got two stud running backs. It makes it a little bit easier to, it's a luxury, but it also, you can build defense and you can run the ball with those two guys.
I guess what I mean by saying luxury is until you figure out the offensive line, drafting another running back isn't going to help you out that much. You know what I mean? Like, and that, dude, I love the pick. I'll let you know. I just started a Madden franchise earlier and drafted Genty in the first round to pick 10 and now have him and Kamara running a 2 running back system. So I love the idea. But if we're going to go that route, realistically, in non-Madden world, I like Hampton out of UNC in the second round. If we're able to do that, he's more of a thumper. And that way you kind of have a more of a thunder lightning kind of scenario with Kamara. But I don't hate the idea whatsoever.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. But do y'all want to just kind of go over the free agents that we have right now? There's nobody like super major. We can go over that. I don't know about jumping into free agency that much since we don't know how our cap's going to look because we haven't seen the cap gymnastics yet. But I do want to talk about the draft. I really, really want to talk about the draft with y'all. Does that kind of work with y'all?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to just jump over the main guys I kind of had highlighted here, bolded out in our doc of guys that are the key free agents that I had. So basically, I had Chase Young. I just don't think he's going to re-sign with us. Some team in a bigger market's going to get more money. Can't blame him. I'm just already assuming he's gone. Juwan Johnson's interesting. I could see somebody overpaying for him, but if we're able to get him back on a reasonable deal, I would like to have him back. And then I want to get y'all's thoughts real quick before we jump to the draft. Paulson Debo. Inconsistent when he's played, has shown the potential to be a shutdown corner. But with that leg injury, I just find it really hard for us to re-sign him. What do y'all think?
I would say just like Juwan Johnson, anyone on this list, if we can get him for a team-friendly deal, sure. But there's no one on this list that when they leave, I'm going to be horribly upset about.
Okay.
But if for Paulson Adebo especially, I think you can never have enough corners. So to me, hey, if he wants to sign a 1-2 year deal where he's trying to prove it, and we get the benefit of it, then yeah, I would say yes.
Fair enough. All right, Joey, what about you, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, Shane, how are you not gonna miss Lucas Patrick? He's supposed to save the team.
That was me, by the way. That was singing Lucas Patrick's praises earlier.
Yeah.
On the broadcast, you would have thought he's the next coming of like Carl Nix or something, or Jari Evans.
I mean, I wouldn't be like Shane said, I wouldn't be disappointed if any of these guys left. I would be like, man, like the sad thing is you look at like the potential of some of these guys that either it's past or it's they might be like a couple years away. I feel like we could fill the need through free agency when those guys leave. Chase Young maybe would be like my highest disappointment because he was that big guy coming out of the draft that the year he got drafted from Ohio State. He did some things. He did pretty well in some games, but I'm more disappointed in the Marshawn Lattimore trade away than I am the Chase Young free agency or anybody like that. If I'm losing anybody, the trade was probably the most hurtful part.
So, okay, I guess in what aspect though? I mean, I feel like it was the best thing we could have done as an organization.
It was just one of those things where it's like, when you see teams draft a guy and it's like, oh, he's a top talent on the team, you just kind of hope that it's that little bit of fandom in you is just kind of looking at it like, man, hopefully he stays for a long time, can retire with the team he drafted and all that. It's nothing like, front of the brain kind of like, oh, damn it. The team had to do what they had to do. I was okay with the trade. It just sucks seeing him in another uniform kind of thing.
Okay. I mean, look, I'm just going to say it now. What we got for him for a guy who hasn't really played a full season in about 3 years now, I thought it was fantastic.
I loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
The fact to get three, like,
I get the nostalgic that Joey's saying, but
I get 100%.
Yeah, it's
the 3, 4, and 6 form is going to give us more for the future. Lattimore, when he's on the field, is great. He's not on the field a lot. Is how I feel about
it. It's that fan nostalgia of like, oh man, he's like, you see Reggie Bush in a Saints uniform, you see Joe Horn in a Saints uniform going to Atlanta. Like Jake Delhomme could have been good, whatever.
God, man. You talk about Joe Horn. Had to be one of the most obvious Saints players going to sign with the Falcons I've ever seen in my life.
The best part of that was when Tom Benson owned the Voodoo. He was at the game that the Voodoo was playing Georgia's team, which was owned by Arthur Blank. And he sat front row behind Georgia's bench. And the entire arena saw him and just started chanting like, you sold out, all that shit that you tell a guy who leaves your team and goes to a rival.
I've said this for many years. Joe Horn can do whatever he wants because Joe Horn was the first really notable free agent to sign with the Saints and say it was okay to come here. Before that, I don't know if you guys can remember this because I'm a little older than y'all. we couldn't get guys, and he came here, and that started an influx of talent over the years. It was like, well, if Joe Horn's going to go there and succeed, and we started getting more people where normally we couldn't get them.
Yeah, that's very true. And then we'd have to just draft guys, and which kind of leads perfectly into the draft. Let's talk about the draft, the 2025 draft now. One of my personal favorite things of the year. It is a draft, and currently the Saints hold the 10th pick at time of recording. Honestly, it's probably where we're going to be picking. It's going to be very hard for us to move up at all in this scenario.
We need to lose and hope teams that will lose win, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's a whole scenario. I'm just going to assume that we're going to have the 10th pick, okay? And Washington kind of looking probably mid-20s, right? We'll just go with the assumption there. Kind of, that's those picks are going to fall in those rounds. Mm-hmm. So I'll put on our show doc that pass rush and wide receiver are probably going to be the most likely scenarios in the first round. I've seen Luther Burton, I mean, I've seen one with Ted McMillan. I don't think that happens, not in the slightest, without us moving up. And I've
Yeah.
also seen the kid out of I think it's Singleton. I don't quote me on that one. I haven't gone into a lot of pass rushers yet, but he's from Texas A&M. And then there's also I've seen a kid from Georgia, Mikael Williams, go to being mocked as Saints. Those are more pass rusher kind of guys that will definitely help beef that up because especially if we lose Chase Young, we have nothing there.
I saw one that I don't know how he would fall this far, but I saw one that had us getting Will Campbell.
Actually, believe it or not, I've seen him falling in a lot of drafts. There's a lot of concern about his arm length and about whether he's going to be a guard or an offensive tackle in the NFL. So that's just what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't hate the pick, though. We definitely need offensive line help. Oh, yeah, 100%. But that's just what I've been seeing has been people mocking edge and wide receiver.
I was just saying, I did see that guy from Georgia was a couple that I had seen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I saw anybody else.
Which I'm just going to jump in real quick and just talk about the wide receivers, right? We've talked about it. It is a need. If there is a chance we can get Ted McMillan, I think we should do it without. But we also can't trade the farm away. We're not in that position yet. But the route we need to take is just collecting talent rather than a specific position, in my opinion. What do y'all think?
100% agree. I don't know if we're going to be able to be active in free agency. They have some wide receivers out there, that we might be able to get. But once again, with being cap stricken, depending on what they do. Unfortunately, for McMillan, I think you have to trade into that 5 spot. I think every mock I've done, he's either going to the Titans or the Panthers. I wouldn't have a problem if they don't have to give up the farm trading to get him because I wouldn't want to go up against them twice a year. Hate to see him go to the Panthers.
Oh, yeah. But I guess what I'm saying, round 1, you would kind of like with the group of players that are looking like they're going to be there, kind of looking like pass rush, wide receiver. If you had to pick one to if you had to choose one aspect to go, which route would you go? Shane.
I'm the best player available guy when it comes to this team.
That's fair enough.
See what you can add in free agency or re-sign, and then if there's not a person that doesn't fit your spot, right? Like say there's a guy out there, maybe a smaller receiver, and we say we re-sign Shaheed and we have Olave, we need a bigger receiver. The Saints could do something that they don't normally do and trade down, accumulate picks, accumulate talent. Like you said, if Jalen McMillan falls to and say 10 and say there's some teams who are quarterback needy, want him bad, try to make a trade and get something,
Yeah, no, 100%. We, like you said, accumulate talent. I would love to see a trade down, specifically to get draft picks next year. In the thought process of trying to load up to get that quarterback. You know what I mean? So I love the idea as well. Joey, what are your thoughts on first round? Where would you like to see him go? Like wide receiver, edge rush kind of work for you, or are you thinking somewhere else, buddy?
I mean, best available, just because we have so many needs. I would like to see them get a defensive edge rusher just because, I mean, the way they were talking about Cam Jordan yesterday, he was retiring this offseason or next offseason. So you have to find somebody to replace him. Shane brings up the good point of Olave and Shaheed are great, but they're more that fast, in the middle, the slot kind of receivers. They're not that tall outside the numbers kind of receivers. So it's whatever you feel you have a need of that's there, that's available. If the best is, like he said, a quarterback, yes, trade back, get some more capital so that you can get more players. If Ted McMillan is there, go for it. If not, then what's the best need that's there available?
Yeah, the biggest need, I'm going to say, mean, you got some offensive linemen there around that spot and everything. Just unfortunately, we're gonna have to probably assume that we're not getting a quarterback in this draft. I shouldn't say this draft, not in the first round. There's really only 2 that are worth a first round grade, in my opinion, and that's really pushing it. And that's going to be Sanders and Cam Ward. I personally like Ward a little bit more than Sanders this year. Still have to dive into tape. Just I don't think it's an option for us unless something shocking happens. So I see the wide receiver first round. We do need to adjust the lines though, but I could also see us taking a running back in the second or third round. It's definitely a need. Like I said, Amarion Hampton, definitely keep that name kind of in the back of your minds. I do like the fit here as we're a thumper to Kamara's Lightning. And I don't know, man. I feel like best player available is going to be the way to go. But Shane, do you want me to tell you who I think sneaky top 10 pick? If he tests out the way I think he's going to test out. Now, look, I could be completely wrong here, gentlemen, and y'all can roast me later. It's going to be the kid out of Penn State, Tyler Warren, the tight end. 6'6", runs like a gazelle. I don't know. I don't think he's Brock Bowers by any stretch of imagination. I think that he's got talent, though. So
I've seen him go in the 20s.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying. I'm just a dark horse of somebody that may fly up draft boards if they test the way I think he can. If this kid's 6'6", 250, and runs a 4.40, like some of the rumors are, you can't tell me that people aren't going to be salivating over that.
Yeah, I would love that pick.
Yeah. So that's just kind of my little dark horse pick on that one. But gentlemen, man,
before we go any further, I have seen that like people have done the 7-round mock drafts, which all power to you. Yeah,
it's impressive.
I've seen
this early.
I've seen the 3rd round. We get Mason Taylor. That's the name I saw.
I don't hate that.
And then getting an edge guy in the 2nd round, that guy from Alabama, LT Overton.
Okay.
He'd be a good 2nd round pick, I think. Again, like we said, Cam Jordan's getting older and older. He's not, at some point he's going to be like, all right, bye, see ya. I'm done. We need to start worrying about that now.
Oh, well, I mean, we need just pass rushes in general, even with him.
We can't fall into that trap like Drew Brees where, okay, Drew Brees is gone. All right, what do we have left in the shed? Let's see. We may have to, and you talk a quarterback. I think, as much as it hurts me to say for you, Tyler, we may just have to suffer with Derek Carr at least 1 more year, maybe 2, just to kind of.
Whoa, no. I can do 25. I can't do 26. I can do 25. I cannot do 26.
Unless he gets like a good line and improves.
Unless he gets everything perfect around him, then he's a Pro Bowl quarterback.
If he could play like weeks 1 and 2 Derek Carr,
well, I mean, yeah,
I'll be fine with it.
But the problem is, it's not the NFL, though.
Yeah, if my aunt had wheels, she'd be a bike.
That's facts. If she had 3 wheels, she'd be a trike.
If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Well, nowadays they can be whatever you want, Joey.
Yeah, exactly, Joey. Exactly. But anyway, but I think this is a good stopping point, gentlemen. I feel like we covered a lot in this episode. Hope you're Saints fans because we are heavy on the Saints today. Oh, man. Looks like my prediction is 25 is going to be a kick in the teeth, just like the end of 24 or 24 has mostly been. 26.
Just be happy that we have a professional football team.
Yeah, that's essentially where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rebuilding process that has had to happen. And, let's give them credit. Man, they have prolonged this window closing and rebuild for about 5 years now. 10 years, 5 to 6 years now. Good on them. I mean, this has just been this season is the culmination of all that coming to a head, though. So definitely going to be a change of philosophy, and I can't wait to see where they go. Shane, closing thoughts, buddy.
I hope they stick to the rebuild. I hope they blow it up. I hope we get some fresh ideas in there from the GM, from coaching, and go younger. And I'm looking forward to 2025. Hopefully, to see them rebuild it. I don't have high hopes for anything other than that.
Yeah, Broseph.
Yeah, just get out of the head of we have to win now. The win now mentality has got us in the position we're in now. Rebuild, full bore, see what we can get, see what we can, develop, and just hold on, be patient. That's the biggest thing. Be patient. These next couple years are gonna suck. Just be patient. If we can get 2026, 2027 to start kind of getting a wild card spot, great. But patience is the key to this franchise the next couple of years.
I just want to see a team that can tackle, or a defense that can tackle.
I'm telling you, they have a team that plays in a stadium on the other side of that little road that the whole sport is about tackling. They could just go talk to them and learn.
You talk about from the practice facility, and you talk about the rugby team. Sorry.
Yes.
I know I know what sports Joey likes to talk about.
On that note, I think we're going to leave it off here, everybody. And, like as always, reach out to the people you care about. Tell them you love them. Join us next week for another edition of the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. We'll be back with you later on this week with Against the Spread picks for your NFL games. And we're going to keep throwing out some fun episodes. So let us know what you think in the comment section. Throw us a like, and we'll see you next time. Peace.